All right, so now that we finished hiring all of our employees and then hiring a 1099 worker, let's see what happened next. Okay, so it is now Wednesday, June 12th. Okay, so we finished hiring everybody on the 11th. It is June 12th, and we decided to purchase a newspaper ad. Okay, so here's what it says here. So again, we're doing the Las Vegas Register Journal. Okay, here's the invoice number. Okay, it is for June 12th, right? Issue date is to run through the newspaper from June 15th through the June 20th. Okay, and we requested for a fourth-page newspaper ad for a total of $85. Okay, so the full amount's going to be $85, and guess what? We get to use and pay with our business credit card. So here we don't owe um, the Las Vegas Register anything because we use the credit card to make a payment for this newspaper ad. Okay, so what did we buy?
We bought advertising.
We bought some advertising. So let's take a look at my chart of accounts again to determine what my account number is for advertising. Right, it's for 60,000. Okay, the account number 60,000. And how did we pay?
Credit card.
We paid by credit card. So let's take a look at my liabilities. Okay, and that will be my Visa payable, right? In this
Right.
case, if you choose to identify your credit card as a notes payable, that is also acceptable. But in this case, I already created a separate account just for my credit card. So in this case, it's right there, 22,000 for the Visa payable because we got a National Bank Visa Gold credit card. Okay. So there you go. My credit card is 22,000 for Visa payable. Okay. So once again, today is the 12th, right? We bought some advertising expense, so we increased advertising here. Okay. And we just started using our credit card. Now, in this case, right? What purpose does a credit card serve us?
For the business?
For the business, yes. What does a credit card do for us, especially a business credit card?
Well,
Making purchases.
Exactly, right? It helps us make purchases, right? It's money that that they allowed us to go ahead and make our business purchases. Now, however, what kind of credit card is this? In terms of when you use your credit card, what does it become to you?
it's a business credit card.
It's a business credit card. So is that money yours or is that money you borrowed?
Money that we borrowed.
Money that we borrowed, right? To make advance payments in this case, right? So in this case, I use my business credit card, right? Because
Right.
I'm making a business expense. I need to pay for these advertising now, right? I can't hold off later. And especially with me only having $5,000 left in my checking account, I don't have that much more money left to spare. So in this case, right, a business credit card is we got approved, so that is a liability to us because we are essentially borrowing money from National Bank to pay for things for us, and we pay the credit card company back later. So in this case, it is a liability because that money is not ours. It belongs to National Bank. So it becomes a liability. And now that we're charging our credit card for the first time, therefore we're going to increase our liabilities. Okay? How much was the advertising for?
$85.
Okay. Good. And we have everything that we need to know for this transaction, right? Such as what did we buy? Well, we bought advertising. Who did we go to? Las Vegas um, Register Journal, right? LVRJ. Okay. And what was my proof of transaction here?
Invoice.
548128. Let me redo that again. 548128. Okay. And what did we do? We bought a 1/4 page newspaper ad. And you don't need to specify that you're going to make a Visa payment because you already put your credit card already there. Okay. All right. So now that my journal's done, I need to go and update my ledger because now I charged my credit card for the first time. So I need to create my account balance for my credit card. Okay. So let's start with the advertising expense first. Okay. Right, we bought a newspaper ad. Okay, do you need to know the dates and specifications of when it's going to run? It's up to you if you want to add that in there, but in this case, I'm not going to. That's good enough. We're on our 4th journal here, and we paid $85 for this newspaper ad. Okay. Okay. And then now I need to update my credit card, right? Because I used it for the first time. So you're going to go to liabilities, right? It's not accounts payable, but we do have a separate account for my credit card. Okay? And today is the 12th, right? What did you use your credit card for? Now in this case, right? When you use your credit card, oftentimes you'll receive your credit card statement, right? It will only tell you the place that you spent the money at, the transaction number, and how much, right? It doesn't tell you what you bought. So that is exactly what you're going to use this ledger for, is to display what you bought, not where you bought it at or how much it costs or when it happened, right? You're going to identify what you bought. Okay? So in this case, we use this business credit card on the 12th to buy a newspaper ad. Right? And then if you want to put the location on there, you can, so you can double verify, right? Then you could say Las Vegas Register Journal. Okay? And we're on page 4, and because you are using a liability or creating a liability, it's going to be on the credit side. Okay, so you just charged your credit card for the first time for $85. Okay. And of course, we need to identify this because when we made our purchase, right, we have proof of a receipt. Now, for any reason that the Las Vegas Register Journal doesn't print out your ad, you can combat them with this saying that I paid with my credit card and you said that it was supposed to be for these specific dates. So again, that is why it is important that you keep track of every single transaction, even if it's paid off, right? Even if you don't owe that company anything, right? It's proof that a transaction has happened and that you're verifying that the vendor that you made a payment to has held up their agreement. So here you go, Las Vegas RJ. Today's the 12th. You ordered a 4th page newspaper ad. Okay, and this is where you can identify that it's supposed to be ran from June 15 to June 20th, right? And you use your Visa credit card to pay, right? Invoice, what was the proof of transaction? We received the receipt of 548128. 548128. Okay. Post reference, once again, is on the fourth journal. Terms. Well, we paid at time of service, right? At time of purchase. So in this case, no terms were given. How much was the advertising for? It was for $85. And did we pay? Yes, we did with the credit card. So run that formula once again. Invoice minus prepaid minus returns minus discounts minus payments. And you should owe nothing to the Las Vegas Registered Journal. Okay? Okay. Okay. Then we went to City Printers, right? And we ordered 2,000 advertising flyers. So let's see what happened here. Okay. So we went to City Printers, right? We ordered 2,000 flyers, right? They're 5x7 flyers. Okay. We ordered 2,000 of them that we can pass out around the streets. Today's date is the 12th, and it's to be done on the 13th, so 24-hour turnover. Here's your order number, 744136. Now, in this case, this company requires us to make a down payment of $50, so then they can ensure that if we don't show up and to pick up our flyers, that they didn't lose money out of it. So in this case, they required a down payment of 50% on the entire purchase. So in this case, we purchased 2,000 flyers. They were 5 cents per copy. So in this case, that was a total of $100, and they require a a 50% down payment, so $50. So that's what we paid, was the $50. So that means we owe an additional $50. Okay? And we're going to pay with our credit card $50. Okay? So, what do we need to record here?
That's also gonna be an advertising expense.
In this case, what do we refer down payments as? Because in this case, did we actually obtain our flyers?
No.
No, right? It was a down payment that we had to pay to secure our order because we don't pick it up until tomorrow.
So it was a prepaid expense?
Prepaid account, because that's what we use for down payments, right? We used a prepaid account. Okay? Because we're making a down payment. Okay? Now, in this case, how did I pay that down payment?
What's the credit card? Business credit card?
Yes, with a Visa credit card. So in this case, that's what I have to do. Visa payable. Okay. All right. For how much? $50, right? That was the down payment agreement, right?
Right.
So then that is exactly where we have everything that we need because we didn't cut a check. We used our business credit card. So in this case, right, here's what we did. This was to City Printers. right?
Right.
Proof of our transaction was our order number, right? Because we requested to order these flyers to be printed. Okay. And they required a 50% down payment on 2,000 flyers. Okay. So therefore, right, because we haven't received the flyers yet. That's why it's not considered an advertising expense, because we don't have the items that we ordered, right? They are just requiring a down payment to secure the order. So then when they do print it out, right, we pick it up tomorrow, and that's when we claim that, yes, we have the advertising flyers. Okay? So this is just a down payment. So then, now that I finish my journal, I need to update my ledger. Okay? Okay? Because now I have a down payment, and I also increased my credit card balance, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and recognize my prepaid accounts first, because that's on my list first. So here's my prepaid accounts, right? My account balance is at $665,417. So that's what I'm going to do here is I'm going to recognize. I have a down payment, down pay on 2,000 flyers. Okay. You can put in whatever the order number was. So the order number 744. Seven four four 136. Okay. You are still on your journal page 4, and because you increased that $50, right? Therefore, you should be at $6,704.17, right? You just add $50 to this. Okay? So there you go. There's my down payment. Okay? We need to update my credit card balance because now I charged an additional $50 on to my credit card, right? And I'm going to go ahead and put in here down payment for flyers. Okay, where at? You could write here city printers. Okay, journal page 4. Okay, and I increased my credit card balance by $50. So how much do I owe on my credit card now?
$135.
$135 is what I owe to my credit card. And of course, I'm going to record to ensure that City Printers knows I made a down payment. Because I also want to make sure that they also recognize that I ordered some stuff. So let's go ahead and go to City Printers. Okay, so they are a vendor. City Printers, here they are, right above Computers R Us. Today's the 12th. All right, what did you do? You ordered 2,000 flyers at 5 cents each. Okay. And they required a 50% down payment, and you used your Visa credit card to pay that down payment. Okay, so once again, invoice number is going to be your order number. Order number 744136. Okay, post reference, once again, is General Journal page 4. No terms, because again, the invoice, the order number, right? We're going to pick it up tomorrow. So again, no terms there. So again, how much was this order telling you? You said 50%. So in this case, whatever 50% was, that $50. And yes, you paid with your Visa credit card, okay? So you owe City Printers nothing right now, okay? And they, on their end, they owe me 2,000 flyers. Okay? And then when we pick it up, then we'll record the rest of this order. Okay? All right. Everybody good so far?
Yes.
All right. So let's see what also happened next. Okay. Right? It's Wednesday, June 12th, and we end up receiving our inventory, right? And it is perpetual inventory, right? So we got perpetual regular coffee, which we're going to use moving average to calculate. And we're going to have perpetual supreme coffee, which we're going to use FIFO to calculate. Okay? So let's go ahead and record that we received our perpetual inventory. Okay? Here is the coffees. Okay? Now, how do we record perpetual inventory?
It's daily, right?
Say that again?
Perpetual.
Perpetual is what?
That's when you were doing the constant count?
Yes. How do we record perpetual inventory?
As
When
in, as
money is accrued,
No. How do you record perpetual inventory?
you would record it as inventory.
Correct. So do I have inventory accounts for my coffees? Let's take a
Yes.
look at my chart of accounts. Okay. What account are they?
It would be under expenses.
What is inventory? Is inventory what type of an account is inventory?
Cost of goods.
It is not a cost of goods. When you buy inventory, what happens? Do you own the inventory? Or
Yeah,
okay, so where would you find inventory?
okay, 120220.
1202.20 is for the regular coffee and 1202.40 for the supreme coffee. Okay, good. And $362.50. Are we going to choose to pay now or pay later?
No.
We're going to pay later, right?
Right.
So in this case, what are my terms? 1% 15, net 30. So therefore, if I'm not paying now and I pay later, what account am I going to be using? What account am I going to use to represent me paying later?
It would be accounts payable?
It'd be accounts payable. Good. Which we already know and use a lot, right? So accounts payable. Okay. How much was my regular coffee?
168.75.
How much is my supreme coffee?
193.75.
So how much do I owe Atlas Coffee?
362.50.
$362.50. Good. So we have all the information that we know, right? So in this case, who did we receive this bill from? Atlas Coffee Importers. Right? What was my proof of a transaction?
The invoice.
The invoice number 315. Okay, do you need to identify the coffees? No, because you have it right there, regular coffee and supreme coffee. You can identify that you bought 250 pounds of coffee. That's fine, but we're going to put all that information in our ledger. Okay? What about terms?
1% for 15, if you get it out 15 days,
Uh-huh.
before 15 days, and net 30.
Okay, good. Okay, so then let's see. All right, so now that I got that there, let's go ahead and plug it into our ledger, okay? But first rule of thumb here is we should check it off that we received our coffees, right? So I'm gonna go to my purchase orders, right? I did receive my coffee, okay? Okay. When did I receive my coffee? Today, which is the 12th. Okay. And what was the invoice number? 315. Okay, so yes, I received my coffee. Okay. Now let's go ahead and update my accounts because now I owe more money. Okay. And I received my inventory, my coffee. So I need to go ahead and plug that into my ledger accounts. Okay. Starting with your assets, right? We purchased inventory. So therefore, I'm going to update my inventory accounts right here. Regular coffee. Today's the 12th, right? What did you do? You purchased 125 pounds of coffee, right? We're on General Journal page 4 for a total of $168.75. Now, do you need to have the price per pound? Is up to you. In this case, you'd be able to just calculate it, right? Whatever 168.75 divided by 125 pounds, right? It's straightforward, right? Or you could put $1.35, whatever you want to do. Okay? I think just purchasing 125 pounds is good enough. Okay? So therefore, my account balance is now $168.75. Okay, $168.75. Okay? I also need to start updating my Supreme coffee as well, because I too also purchased purchased 125 pounds of my Supreme coffee, right? For $193.75, right? And now I need to update my last account, which is my accounts payable, because now, again, I owe more money. So, liabilities, right? Right? This is invoice number 315. On General Journal page 4, and now I owe $362.50 more. Okay? So how much do I owe in grand total now? What's my new balance in my accounts payable account?
$14,116.40.
$14,116.40. Yes, again, now we owe more money. Okay? So now that I have that, right, my journal's done, my ledger's done, I now need to update my Substair ledger, because now I owe Atlas Coffee money. Okay, so that's definitely something I need to record here, is I owe more money. Okay, today's the 12th. What did you do? You purchased, or in this case, you could say received 250 pounds of coffee, or you could do 125 pounds of regular coffee and 125 pounds of Supreme coffee. right? And then okay, invoice 315, post reference, we're still on page 4. What was my terms that they gave me?
1% at 15 and net 30.
So 1%, 15, net 30. So that means they gave me a discount opportunity. So if I receive this on the 12th, right? And when is the last day that I can receive my discount?
Twenty-seventh?
27th. Good. And if it's due in 30 days, when is my actual bill due?
July 12th?
July 12th, right? Because June has 30 days. Exactly 30 days. So in this case, how much were you quoted for? $362.50. You didn't make any payments, so therefore you should owe, if you plug in your formula, you should owe $362.50. Right? And that's true. Right? Because that's what your bill says that you owe. Okay? Since we purchased inventory, we also need to update our inventory worksheet because that is what we're going to be using to keep track of our inventory is by calculating our tables. So in this case, my regular coffee, so I've already filled out the table for you. We're going to do regular coffee. It's going to be perpetual, right? And it's going to be moving average. Here's your cost of goods sold section here, which we're not going to be using yet, right? Because we made a purchase. So in this case, today is the 12th. We purchased a total of 125 pounds. What is my unit cost for my regular coffee? My unit cost is $1.35, right, for my regular coffee. Okay. So my regular coffee is $1.35 per pound. So therefore, if you run your formula, it should give you that 168.75, which is what we know to be, right? Okay. We need to also, so now it says freight expense and then total cost. In this case, I'm going to let you know, yes, you will incur freight expense, but right now you don't have it. So I'm going to leave my worksheet the way it is because I'm not done with it yet. Okay? I need to do my Supreme coffee. Okay? Supreme coffee, right? Same thing. We're going to enter in that we purchased 125 pounds. My cost per item or my unit price that I purchased my coffee was at $1.55 per pound. So that gave me a total of $193.75, which is true, right? We know that for a fact. Okay. So once again, we're gonna stop here, or we're not gonna finish the inventory worksheet because we still have to accrue the freight. Okay, so that is it for that transaction here, right? We did the journal, the ledger, we updated the subsidiary ledger, and we plugged it into our inventory worksheet. Okay. All right. So then, upon receiving our coffee, we end up receiving another receipt here from Freightline, right? So if you actually notice here, when we ordered the coffees, we ordered them from California, okay, from San Francisco. So they had to get a third party person to be able to deliver the coffees to Vegas, right? So in this case, they used Freightline to go ahead and deliver the coffees to us in Vegas. Okay. So for this is another COD, so cash on delivery, for June 12th. Okay, from Atlas to our store here. And here they wrote to here that the shipping cost was a total of $62.50. Now, if each of my coffees were 125 pounds each, how do I split my freight?
$50.
You would split it 50-50. Okay, so $31.25 for my regular coffee and $31.25 for my Supreme coffee. Now, how do I journalize that I have shipping cost for my inventory?
Freight.
In this
Expense.
case, you said freight expense. Okay. What kind of inventory is this?
Perpetual.
Perpetual. What's the rule of perpetual?
As the expense is incurred, or as it's delivered,
Okay.
as the goods are delivered.
Where do they go? Where do those extra expenses for my inventory go?
Inventory.
They go straight into inventory because it's perpetual inventory, right? Every single cost it takes to get the asset to the store is going to be included. And where are you going to shove it? All into inventory. So in this case, I have to recognize that I'm going to be putting in my separate freights for each of the coffees respectively, right? Because I'm putting them all in inventory. But I still need to identify that the cost of each inventory item we purchase is necessary. So therefore, I need to recognize that I'm going to be needing my freight expense are going to be distributed right here into inventory, right? To my regular coffee and my Supreme coffee. Right? Right? And how did I pay? Since this was COD.
Cash.
You paid with your check, right? Okay. So in this case, you're going to need to cut a check as well. Now, we know it's a total of $62.50. So therefore, we said, how much are you just dividing the shipping cost amongst? You said 50%. So in this case, $62.50 divided by 2 gave you $31.25. So therefore, you're going to be cutting a check for $62.50. Okay? So Now that I have that, let's cut my check. Right here, it's the 12th. You're cutting a check for $15.13 for a total of $62.50. To whom? Freightline, right? That's the person who delivered the coffee to you guys, right? Freightline. And what was it for? Shipping for coffee. Okay. So you got check number 1513 as proof that you made a payment to Freightline. So once again, who did you receive a bill from? Freightline. Okay. Proof of a transaction, they billed you with invoice number 482. Okay. And of course, what was it for? Shipping costs. This was COD. Right? Cash on delivery, which forced us to write a check number 1513. Okay. All right. Everyone good?
Yeah.
Tommy, you good? Okay. Right. So now that I finished my journal, I need to post it to my ledger. Right? Because now I increased my inventory because I have to include the shipping cost. So in this case, I need to go to my regular coffee and identify that I included the cost of freight or my shipping cost. Okay? Is going to be included in the price of my inventory. So my shipping for the 125 pounds of regular coffee was $31.25. So therefore, how much is my account balance in my regular coffee?
$200.
$200. Good. Okay. And then I also need to update my Supreme coffee. Right, for shipping cost. Okay, which added another $31.25. So how much is my grand total for my Supreme coffee?
It's gonna be 200, right?
$193.75 plus $31.25.
$225.
$225. Good. Okay. And of course, in order for us to pay for the shipping, we have to update our checking account because we end up spending more money. Okay? So here's my checking account. Okay. I wrote another check. Right? Check number 1513. Yes.
Is that 224 or 225?
Where are you looking at?
The previous addition to the coffee freight on the charge?
Okay, so for the Supreme Coffee?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Supreme Coffee, right? It's $193.75 plus 20 plus $31.25. So that should give you $225.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay. So again, we are here on my checking account. I just wrote check number 1513 for $62.50, right? Just like what it says in my journal. So therefore, how much money should I have in my bank account now that I spent another $62.50?
$5,490.
Okay, $5,489.92. Okay, good. So of course, we also need to update my subsidiary ledger because I wrote a checkout. Proof of a transaction, and we also that way Freightline can verify with Atlas Coffee that they delivered the coffees to us, right? So we need to update my subsidiary ledger. Okay, so again, to keep a good track record. Okay. So subsidiary ledger, since this doesn't have to do with the coffee itself, we can go to Freightline, right? And we're gonna go ahead and say it's the 12th, right? And you can say delivery cost for shipping £250 of coffee. Right? And of course you wrote check number 1513. That's your proof of payment. Invoice number. What was my invoice number again? 482. Post reference, still again, page 4. Right, terms was cash on delivery. Okay, for $62.50. And of course, we did pay it with a check number 1513. So I owe Freightline nothing. Okay? Okay. Last but not least, right? We can finally finish updating my inventory worksheet because now I have my freight. Okay? So starting with your regular coffee, right? We purchased my regular coffee and we just incurred the freight expense for $31.25. So my grand total cost for my regular coffee was $200, right? We already established that in our ledger. Okay? So in this case, because I have my very first batch of inventory, right? For moving average, right? We still need to solve for what my total average cost per item is going to be. So, how do I solve for my cost per item?
Total cost divided by quantity.
Total cost divided by quantity, which is going to give you, so you take your 200 divided by a dollar, 200 divided by 125 pounds. How much is it going to cost you per pound?
$1.60.
$1.60. Okay? Because we're using perpetual inventory, I'm going to go ahead and carry that amount over into my inventory on hand. Okay? Now remember, this is moving average here, right? So in this case, we're constantly going to be calculating our cost per item. Okay? Right? Because right now we have 125 pounds available at a total of $200, right? Because each pound right now is currently costing me $1.60. Right? And I want to, like I've mentioned before, right? I want to be able to know how many how much it's going to cost me per pound. Right? So right now it's $1.60 even. Okay? All right. So that's my first one. So let's go ahead and solve for my Supreme Coffee. Okay? So here I purchased my Supreme Coffee. I incurred $31.25 worth of freight, which gave me a grand total of $225. Okay? Okay, $225. So in this case, I am using FIFO, okay, meaning first in, first out. So therefore, if I'm using FIFO for my inventory for my Supreme Coffee, that means I have to figure out what the cost per item is. So in this case, what is my cost per item?
$1.80.
$1.80. So therefore, I'm going to carry this batch over into my inventory on hand. And this time, I want to do this. I want to keep my quantity, right? I'm going to have that one be something I fill in. And I'm going to also fill in my cost per item and have my calculation be my quantity times my cost, right? Because in this case, my cost per item is going to stay the same, right? Because I'm keeping track of my batches of inventory based on how much I'm selling per batch. So in this case, this first batch of inventory is going to cost me $1.80 per pound. Okay? So therefore, for when I do adjust my inventory, right? I just adjust the quantity and it should multiply by the $1.80 to give you my total cost. Okay, so right now that's where my formula is at, is going to be in my total cost section. Right? Right? And if you really want to, you can go ahead and build your little your total inventory table down below, right? You could recognize how much you have on hand at all times, right? So right now, I have a total of 125 pounds, okay? Why am I creating this table at the bottom? Because again, I have to keep my batches of inventory separate, right? So every batch that I purchase, I'm going to go ahead and make a note on it so you guys can see it right here. I'm also going to highlight this so you know how many items you have on hand at all times. So right now, that one batch of inventory, I currently have 125 pounds. Okay. Okay. All right. And that is where we're going to stop for today for class. Okay. So when we come back from the break, we're going to go ahead and continue on with the very next day, Thursday, June 13th. Okay. Any questions so far in regards to anything that we have done?
No.
Okay.